Hello and welcome to another monthly reset. I'm usually pretty excited to make these videos, but today I'm especially excited because, as you probably know, today will be the last monthly reset of 2023. I've been making these videos since June, so it's really crazy that we're already in December. Let me know if you agree or not, but I feel like the year has flown by really fast. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Janelle. I'm 30 years old and I live with my partner and our 2 cats. I really love making these videos, not only because a lot of people watch them, but also because I get so much accountability from making them. Talking about my goals, reflecting on the previous month, and seeing where I'm at with my goals really helps me to improve how I set my goals and achieve my goals in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and without further ado, let's get into the November reflection. Okay, so this is what my November setup looked like. As always, if you want the free template of this, I will leave it linked in the description. But let's go over my November goals first. My first goal for November was to apply to 22 jobs. I'm actually not sure if I achieved this goal or not because at the beginning of the month, my partner Alex actually volunteered to apply for jobs for me. I still applied to some jobs myself, but I honestly don't know how many he applied for, but I'm pretty sure he applied to over 22 jobs, so I would say that this goal was accomplished, and I'm very, very thankful for Alex for taking on this responsibility because it has been really hard for me to apply for jobs in the past. So yeah, my next goal was to post at least 2 shorts per week, and if we open this up, I actually was able to do that for the first week, but then in the second week I kind of fell off and then pretty much gave up on it. For me personally, I don't like to consider not achieving my goals as a failure because that makes me feel really bad. What I'd like to think about it instead is that I've made progress on these goals. So I don't want to say that I failed on this goal. I still made a little bit progress, and I don't want to ignore the fact that I made progress. So this wasn't a total failure, but I will do better in the future for sure. My next goal was to post 4 videos, and I definitely completed this task. I think that one of the weeks I posted a little late. I think I posted on a Monday one of the weeks, but I was still able to post 4 videos in the month of November, which I'm very proud of myself for. And then my last goal was to read 12 books, and currently I have read 6 books. But it's still the 28th, so I still do have a couple of days left. So I won't say that I haven't completed this goal yet, but I'll let you know if I do end up reading 12 books. Next is my to-do list, and as you can see, here are all the overdue things that I still have not accomplished. They're gonna stay overdue because November is over already. And we're moving on to December. Next is my habit tracker, and there's nothing this week because I don't know why I put all of the days of November. I kind of started early, but then I don't know what happened. But this is how all of my habits looked as of Sunday, November 26th. And the habits that I wanted to implement were reading, journaling, content creation, and waking up at 7:30 a.m. every day. I think I did have make my bed every morning as a habit when I did my November reset, but I decided to take that off because I didn't feel like it was that important. If we look at my habit completion rate, you can see that I did super well on reading. And then on journaling, I kind of fell off by the 3rd week and then completely gave up on journaling on the 4th week. Content creation, I did pretty okay on. I started off really strong, but then did kind of below 50% on the rest of the month. And then 7:30 a.m. wake up, I did really good on this. I set my alarm and I was able to wake up at 7:30 a.m. for a majority of the time. So I would consider reading and my 7:30 a.m. wake up as a success, and then journaling and content creation, I will probably do that for the month of December. Next is my Thanksgiving recipes and groceries. I did end up making the turkey this year. My family likes it when I make the turkey, so I did it again this year. I did not end up making roasted Brussels sprouts, but we did still have a lot of food. Also, my roast turkey was a success. It was a tiny bit dry, but it was still delicious, and I'm very happy with the results. I actually forgot to add my November memories, but I'll probably have a slideshow of all the photos that were notable in November right after this. Hello, it's actually the next day. I just wanted to cut in real quick and share with you my November memories. I didn't want to skip over this because this is something that I look forward to sharing with everybody every month. So let's go over them real quickly. So this is how my November memories turned out. The first picture is a picture of me that I used for a thumbnail on one of my videos this month. This is the first time that I've used this camera to take a photo of myself for my thumbnail. In the past, I've only used my iPhone to take pictures and the quality of my iPhone is not very good. So this time I decided to use my camera and I feel like the quality of my thumbnails has really improved because of it. So I just wanted to add this in here because I think it's a really nice photo. The next photo I have here is a photo of my cat Luna. I've actually never put any clothes on either of my cats before. I've only ever put collars on both of them, but I've always noticed that Luna has never really struggled against me whenever I tried to put on a collar on her. In fact, I actually think she likes it, and I think she likes being told that she's really pretty every time I put a collar on her, which I think is really cute. So a couple weeks ago we were in Petco and I had the bright idea to get her a little bandana to put on her so that she could look really cute for the holiday season, and she really doesn't mind it anymore. I think at the beginning she was just like, what is this? I've never put on something like this before, but now she actually doesn't mind it. Next photo is a photo of me next to the San Diego skyline. I'm not sure what this area is called, but it's in Coronado and it's like right by the ferry. I feel like it's called the Coronado Ferry Landing or something like that. My family was in town visiting from Canada and Palm Springs and they were taking a bunch of photos, and Alex actually took this photo of me and I really liked it. So I decided to add it in here. Next photo is another photo that I used in a thumbnail. I was honestly just trying to take photos of myself reading for my reading vlog, and then my cat Atlas decided to sit in my lap and he looked up at me as I was taking photos, so I thought it was really cute. And then the next photo is actually a photo from the same day as this one. Like I said, I had family visiting from Canada and Palm Springs. So this is all of us, including my mom. And this photo was taken inside of that famous hotel in Coronado, Hotel del Coronado, of course. There are so many Christmas decorations in and around this hotel. It's definitely worth visiting if you live or are visiting San Diego this holiday season. And then obviously the rest of my photos are photos from Thanksgiving. So this is the turkey that I made. It turned out really good. I feel like I've really perfected the art of roasting a turkey. Obviously we had Filipino food there. One of my cousins made green bean casserole and mashed potatoes. And then actually one of my cousins from Canada sent a cake in with my aunt. So my aunt actually flew with a cake from Canada to San Diego, or Palm Springs. She flew into Palm Springs and she brought this carrot cake with her. She actually also sent some ensaimada, which is a Filipino dessert, and that was also really, really good. I just had it last night. It's so delicious. And I'm so thankful that I have such a loving family to be able to send these treats with us. It was just so thoughtful, and honestly, I'm so grateful. I cannot say enough how grateful I am for having this family. And yeah, those are my November memories. Let's get back into the video. So yeah, that is how November turned out. I feel like it was a pretty successful month, even though I technically didn't achieve all of my goals, but I still made progress, and I feel like I learned a lot about myself in November. And also November was a time to spend with family as well, so I feel like November was a really good month. Welcome to the December reset. I actually already recorded this, but there were a few things that I wanted to change, and also there were a few things that I forgot to mention, so we're re-recording this today. A couple things to note before we get started. I am actually testing out my 2024 template. This is gonna be a template that encompasses the entire year, and I'm kind of testing it out for now. So if my December setup looks a little bit different from the December template, that's why. I really don't want to put out a template that I haven't tested out myself first, so just be mindful of a little bit of the differences between the template and my actual December setup. I will try and make it as similar as possible, but just in case there are some differences, that's why. If there are some things that I had in my own setup that you wanted me to add to the template, just let me know and I'll do that right away. But yeah, it's not gonna be exactly the same because of that. I really wanted to get a head start on a few of the goals that I set out for myself for 2024. I've actually already kind of decided what goals I wanted to get started on in the beginning of 2024. So some of the goals that I'm talking about today are a little bit ambitious, but we're gonna try anyway and make some progress on it. I feel like that's my whole theme for December and hopefully for 2024 is to not be so hard on myself on whether or not I achieve my goals, but appreciating when I make progress in my goals. So with that being said, let's get into my December setup. So here's what my December setup looks like. I obviously went with the Christmas theme, but this Christmas theme is kind of like a brown, green, and red type of Christmas theme. It was actually pretty hard to find photos on Pinterest that all match together, because if I looked up like Christmas theme, for example, I feel like all the colors were so different and diverse and stuff. So I really just went with something that had a lot of browns in it. Christmas usually pretty much has red and green in it already, so I went with also a brown and also kind of like a muted green, as opposed to like a bright, vibrant green that you usually see in Christmas photos. Anyways, the first thing that you see is a quote from John Steinbeck that says, "What good is the warmth of summer without the cold of winter to give it sweetness?" I think this is a really good quote to think about, especially during times when you're sad, because during times when you do feel happy, you don't have the times when you were feeling sad to compare it to. And also I feel like pretty much it's inevitable to have times of sadness to compare it with the times of happiness. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it's a really great quote. And then we get into my December goals and my to-do list. So pretty much everything is the same as last month. I have my December goals in this gallery, and then I have my to-do list in this table. All of these things in my to-do list are within my goals. So if I click on one of my goals, it's gonna show all the tasks to achieve this goal, which is all the stuff that is in my to-do list. That's pretty much how I've been doing it for the past few months, and it's really been working out for me, so I'm gonna keep this same layout. But let's go over my December goals. So my first goal is to post 1 short per week. Obviously, when I tried to do 2 shorts per week in November, that didn't work out, but I feel like 1 short per week is completely doable. Ideally, I would want to post more than 1 short per week. Some people post like every day, but I don't know if that's really feasible for me, especially with the goals that I have for this month. So 1 short per week. If I do more, then that's fine, but at least 1 per week just to keep up with consistency. My second goal is to finish LeetCode Blind 75. If you don't know what LeetCode is, it's basically a website where you can practice coding problems for coding interviews if you're a software engineer or aspiring software engineer. I pretty much have 0 confidence when it comes to looking for jobs, so I really need to practice and make myself feel better about my coding skills. Honestly, I feel like this might be the hardest goal that I set for myself, because I have this really big aversion to doing LeetCode problems for some reason. I feel like part of it is me not having the confidence to do them. Whatever it is, I find it very difficult to do even just 1 LeetCode problem. So I really want to make this a priority in December, and hopefully I can do as many as I can. For me, it doesn't matter if I achieve this goal or not, but as long as I make progress on this goal, I think I will consider it a success. My next goal is to post 8 videos. Historically, I've only made it a goal to post 4 videos a month, which means that I post 1 video per week. But 8 videos in the month of December will mean that I'll have to post 2 videos per week. I feel like I've been really streamlining my process for making videos, and on top of that, I really prioritize YouTube. It's literally my passion. So for this goal, I actually feel like I can achieve it as long as I can stay ahead on my videos. In fact, I already have the next video edited, so I'm already kind of ahead on my videos, so I feel like I can really do this one. This is also me trying out this new schedule. If I do like the schedule of posting twice per week, then maybe I can consider continuing on with that trend. So I'm trying out posting twice per week in December. Let's see how it goes. I'm very excited for this goal. And then my last goal is to do a daily walk. So in 2024, I think I really want to prioritize my health and fitness. That's something that I haven't done in the past. I feel like these past few years, or like pretty much my entire life, I have not been prioritizing health. Not only just in regards to like physical health, but also in my mental health. And I feel like that's kind of hindering me from achieving my other goals, or at least making progress on my other goals. So I want to get ahead on my 2024 goal of prioritizing my health. I feel like daily walks are like a good easy way to start moving my body, and so that's why I made this a goal. If you notice here, I don't have like a progress bar, and that's because I don't really have a task. This is something that I want to make a habit out of, so it will be in my habit tracker. Like I said, everything in this to-do list is going to contribute to my December goals. So you can see on the side here which monthly goal that these specific tasks contribute to, and then I have like a due date for all of them. So yeah, those are my December goals. Now let's get into my December habit tracker. So with my habits, I feel like I can graduate a habit if I make at least 85% on the habit completion rate. So because of that, I am no longer gonna track my reading habit and my wake up at 7:30 a.m. habit, because those habits have technically graduated. Why am I using that term? I don't know. It's like the first word that I thought of and I think it works. So yeah, we're using the word graduated. But I didn't graduate on journaling and content creation. So those are the first two habits that I want to continue working on in the month of December. And then I actually added 4 habits here. Is this a good idea? I don't know, but we'll see. The first new habit is gonna kind of come out of nowhere, but that is for me to learn Portuguese, or for me to practice Portuguese every day. So for anyone who doesn't know, my partner Alex is actually Brazilian. He's literally from Brazil. He immigrated here about 6 years ago, and it has actually been a dream of mine to learn Portuguese because my best friend is actually Brazilian as well, funnily enough. I've always found Portuguese to be such a beautiful language, and I also really love language learning. So now that I actually have a boyfriend that speaks Portuguese, it's literally his first language, I feel like this is a great opportunity for me to learn Portuguese. But more importantly, I feel like learning Portuguese will help me to communicate better with his family and my best friend's family. And also I feel like it will strengthen our relationship, or at least I hope it will. This is not a habit that I'm going to be strict on myself with, but I just want to see and track how much progress that I make on this. Next habit is LeetCode. Code. Obviously, if I'm gonna try and do the blind 75, I want to track this habit of me doing LeetCode Code problems. If I do at least 1 problem per day, I'm gonna check this box off. I gotta really hunker down on this habit because it's probably gonna be the hardest one for me. Next habit is my evening tidy habit, and this habit actually contributes to my goal of making 8 videos in the month of December. I feel like if I'm gonna be making more content, I have to be mindful of my environment, especially when it comes to like the kitchen area, because the kitchen is usually in the background of my videos. The reason why that is because the windows are on the opposite side of the kitchen, and so if I film facing this way, the lighting is gonna be really bad. So basically I want to keep my apartment clean and presentable for everybody that watches my videos, because honestly it just looks nicer, and also I feel like having a nice clean environment helps me to be more productive. So that's just gonna contribute to multiple areas in my life, but mostly my content creation. And then lastly is my daily walk. As I said, I want to prioritize health and fitness in the year of 2024. This one's the one that I actually want to prioritize, because I feel like if I do my daily walk, it's gonna help me in all other areas in my life, because not only will it help me with my physical health, but it will also help me with my mental health, and then it's just gonna be a domino effect to everything else in my life. So yeah, those are the habits that I want to implement in the month of December. Again, I added a habit completion rate, and I have the total completion rate for here. So it's gonna calculate the percentages of all of the days as opposed to on a weekly basis. I decided not to add a weekly completion rate on this Notion template because I actually started on December 1st through the 31st instead of like starting on a Monday or a Sunday. It's just the way that I set up all of the days. They're not gonna fall nicely on a week, so I just didn't have a weekly tracker for the habit completion rate. I hope that makes sense. Just ignore the November 30th on mine, but everything else starts on December 1st and then ends on December 31st. Next is my reflection, and this is something new that I'm adding to all of my monthly setups. Honestly, I should have added this in past setups, but I've kind of been doing this subconsciously anyway since I make these videos and I kind of reflect on everything. But this time I'm actually gonna write it down, and obviously I'm gonna go over it in the next month's reset. But the things that I wanted to reflect on starting in December is I am proud of myself for things that work for me, things that didn't work for me, and how I can improve next month. I feel like if I actually make a point of reflecting on my goals and reflecting on what worked and what didn't work, it will help me in the future to do better on my goals. Obviously, being aware of these things will help me in the future. So yeah, that's why I have this reflection here. And then lastly, I didn't forget to add December memories. So here they are. So here's my December template. Everything is pretty much set up here for you to fill out. If you add a task in here, it's gonna show up on the progress bar, and then also it will show up in your to-do list. And then if you scroll down to the habit tracker, I've added 10 habits in here. I don't feel like people are gonna do more than 10 habits, but they're all tracked in here anyway. And then you can change these habits to, let's say, journaling, change the icon in here to whatever you want, and then change it here also. You can change the icon. You can fill this out with whatever habits that you want to implement in the month of December, and then anything extra you just delete property. I also have reflection here and December memories, and everything is pretty much easy to use. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so at this point you're probably wondering whether or not I actually achieved my reading goal of reading 12 books in the month of November. And you're also probably wondering why I didn't make it another goal to read another 12 books for December, because anyone who is not new to my channel would know that I was super behind on my reading goal. I wanted to read 50 books, and I think at the beginning of November I was like at 28 books or something like that. The answer to the first question is no, I did not end up reading 12 books. And the reason why I didn't add a reading goal to my list of goals is because I am actually giving up. The reason why I originally had a reading goal of reading 50 books in 2023 is because in the past 2 years I've actually read more than 50 books. And so I made it 50 books because I felt like it would be easier and more relaxing for me to actually read that much, because I've already read more than that in past years. But ever since I got behind, I really wanted to catch up, and because I was wanting to catch up, I stopped relaxing while I was reading, which was the whole point of me making it a goal to read 50 books. And so after a little bit of reflection, I realized that it's not really that big of a deal to read 50 books in 2023. I really just wanted to go back to relaxing and enjoying the books that I read instead of making it a numbers game. So that's why I didn't make it a point to read 12 books in November, and also why I don't have a reading goal for December. With that being said, I did read 6 books in November, so let's talk about them. The first book that I read in November was A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. If you're not familiar with A Court of Thorns and Roses, it's this really super popular series. It's high fantasy, very spicy, and I've always known that the second book in the series, which is the book that I just read, is the most popular one out of all of them. But you kind of have to get through A Court of Thorns and Roses first before you get to A Court of Mist and Fury. So I read A Court of Thorns and Roses last year, and then in November, well actually mainly October, I read A Court of Mist and Fury, but I finished it at the beginning of November, and I totally get it now. I even wrote this in my review. I just put in all caps, oh my god, I get it now, because everybody just raves about this book, and I really wanted to know why, and now I get it. I think that if you're super into high fantasy and if you love romance, you will really enjoy this book. It's amazing. And because of that, I rated it a 5 stars. I am totally on the A Court of Mist and Fury bandwagon now. The second book that I read was The Wife Upstairs. This is a thriller retelling of Jane Eyre, and it's also set in the modern day. Because I've already read Jane Eyre, I already guessed what the ending was gonna be, so it wasn't too thrilling for me. It was just a really quick read, and I was also really interested in reading it because Jane Eyre is one of my favorite books of all time. So I read it and I rated it a 3 stars. Next book that I read was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I read this book during my reading vlog, so if you haven't watched that already, I would highly suggest that you watch it. But it's basically talking about her entire life. She talks about growing up in the entertainment business, the sexism that she faced, some really traumatic stuff that she went through, including the conservatorship. And I know that sometimes celebrities have these books written for them, but I kind of feel like Britney Spears wrote this herself. I know that some people were a little bit critical of the writing in this book, but I don't think that was really the point of it. I really think that the point of this book is for her to talk about her life and all of the traumatic stuff that she faced. So because of that, and like the impact that I feel like this book had on me personally, I rated it a 5 star. Next book that I read was Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is a collection of short stories all set in a cafe, and inside the cafe you can actually go back in time. There are a bunch of rules involved in that. One example is that you have to drink the coffee before it gets cold. Otherwise, something bad will happen to you while you're stuck back in time. But it's a really nice, quick read if you are really behind on your reading goal like I was. I personally really enjoyed reading this book. I think the stories in this book were super meaningful. I especially love the one with the mother and the child. That is my favorite one, and I highly recommend this one. I rated it a 4-star. Next book that I read was the Heartstopper yearbook, and for context, I am obsessed with the Heartstopper series. It is currently my favorite graphic novel series right now, and it's about two boys who fall in love, Nick and Charlie. So this is actually the yearbook, which is actually kind of like a behind the scenes of the Heartstopper series. So Alice Oseman, the author, is kind of like talking about her process and like the evolution of the entire series. And she also has some extra content in there. So yeah, I highly recommend this one, but also I'm kind of biased because I really love this series in general. So I rated this a 5-star. Next book that I read was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It's Harry Potter, so I don't really need to talk about it. And then the last book that I read in the month of November is The Girl from the Sea by Molly Knox Ostertag. This is another graphic novel about a girl who easily fits in with everybody around her, but that is only because she's kind of like hiding pieces of herself from other people. And she meets this Selkie, which I thought was a mermaid, but it's actually not. It's actually a seal. And this Selkie actually claims to be her true love, but she doesn't want to share with other people that she actually likes girls. So this is not only a love story, it's also a story about a girl that is coming out of her shell and being more open about herself. I really like this one. I like the premise of the story, and I like the illustration of this book, so I rated it a 5-star. And that is everything that I read in November and why I am no longer doing my reading goal. That is it for my December reset. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm very happy with how November turned out despite not really achieving some of my goals, and I'm super excited for how December will turn out. I'm definitely gonna be a lot kinder to myself in December. It's the holidays, so I can't get too mad at myself if I don't end up achieving any of my goals, and I can probably guarantee that I will still make some progress on some of these goals even if I don't end up achieving them. And this is just your friendly reminder too, that if you don't end up achieving your goals, try and think about how much progress you've made and reflect on how you can do better in the future. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more monthly resets in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.